Salams and welcome. Thank you for joining me in another episode of the Quran Basics for Beginners. Auzubillahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. We are busy with the tafsir of chapter number 36 of the Quran, volume number 7 from Ma'ariful Quran, pages 368-369. And we left the previous episode as to what happens to your deeds. If you have done good deeds, you will get the benefits of that, even if you have died. And if you have done evil deeds, then you will also get the sins accumulated to your name, right? So let's continue. Bismillahir-Rahmanir-Rahim. The effects of deeds are also recorded like the deeds themselves. The terse statement وَأَثَارَهُمْ and the efforts and the effects in verse 12 means that the way deeds done by them are written, so are the effects of their deeds, right? The word athar refers to the traces or effects, and this refers to the fruits or the outcomes. You have cause and effect, refers to the outcomes and the consequences that show up later and keep surviving long after the deed has been done, right? It's like a ripple effect or a domino effect. For example, someone helped people learn their religion, told them about its injunctions, or wrote a book to enable them to get the best out of their faith, or instituted some sort of endowment or waqf that turned out to be beneficial for people after him, and for that matter, did something that brought benefit to the average common Muslims, then, as far as the effects of this good deed remain, and as long as they bring fruits, they all will continue to be written in his book of deeds. So if a person has written a book, as long as that book is surviving, that person will get the rewards for that. If someone has contributed a musalla to the masjid, as long as someone is using that masjid and praying on that musalla, you get the reward. If you have contributed to a well in the parts of Africa, even after you're long gone and dead, as long as that well is still pumping out water, you still get the rewards of that. If you have planted a tree and that tree is still bearing fruits even 50, 60, 80, 100 years later, you still get the reward. You get the reward for anyone who sits under the shade of the tree. You get the reward for the birds who are building the nest in the tree. You get the reward for every fruit that the tree is bearing, right? And so on. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is generous and is Ghafur Rahim, and his bounties are infinite, limitless. On the other hand, now those are the good deeds. On the other hand, similar is the case of bad deeds or evil deeds, the evil fruits and effects of which continue to remain in the world. For example, someone instituted oppressive laws or institutions that tend to corrupt the human deeds and morals, or made people follow the way of error and evil. Then, as far as and as long as the evil outcomes of his deed keep taking shape, these will continue to be recorded in his or her book of deeds, right? As it has been said by Nabi Sal'lal'laa'hu A'layhi Was'sal'lam himself while explaining this verse. Sayyidina Jarir ibn Abdullah al-Bajali radiallahu anhu narrated that Rasulullah Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam said, "Whoever started a good practice, he will have its reward, and the reward of whoever acts in accordance with it after him, without the least decrease in the reward of others acting upon it. And whoever started a bad practice, on that person shall be its sin, along with the sin of whoever acts in accordance with it after him, without the least decrease in the sins of others acting upon it." This is by Ibn Kathir from Ibn Abi Hatim rahmatullah alayhi for all, right? So the word athar, traces or effects, is also used in the sense of footprints. As in hadith, when one walks to the masjid, one good deed is recorded at every step the person takes. Some hadith narrations seem to indicate that the word athar, traces, appearing in this verse refers to these very footprints. The way the reward of salah is written down, similarly, on every step taken while going for salah, one good deed is recorded. At this stage in his tafsir, Ibn Kathir has put together all narrations that mention that there were many people in Medina whose houses were at quite a distance from Masjid al-Nabawi. So they thought of setting up their homes closer to the masjid. They wanted to build houses closer. But Nabi Sal'lal'laa'hu A'layhi Was'sallam told them not to do that. He advised them, live where you are staying at the moment. Don't buy a house nearer. Because when you walk in from a far distance, do not take this time to have been wasted, because the more your steps are, the more shall be your reward, right? So in fact, the people want to come near, and Nabi Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam says, no, the effort you are making for walking, every footstep you are getting a reward for that, right? So join me in the next episode as we continue with the tafsir of Surah Yasin, and we'll then start with the verses 13 to 32. Stay well, look after yourself. Alhamdulillah.